Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we are going to be covering Nightmare Raids, everything I know about Nightmare Raids, which is not a lot, but it's something to start off with. Please remember though, unless it is officially announced by Playcott, things could change, so keep that in mind as well. And everything I know is being shared within this video, so if you ask a question that I don't cover in this video, I'm not going to have the answer for you. I'm just not. When I find stuff out, I will let you guys know. It's as simple as that. So let's start by looking at the raid map. There are 3 pictures I've been given access to. This is the first one, and this is the start of the raid. As you can see, there are 3 paths, none of which overlap. So when you set your players down, they are pretty much stuck. The middle cannot go left. The left cannot go to the middle. The right can't go to the middle, and the middle can't go to the right. You are set. There are what appears to be 9 lanes, or yeah, I want to say 9 lanes. So yeah, moving over to the second picture though, this is the left hand side. You can see that there the paths do narrow out, but you can see that there is I think her name's Ishtar, the dark elf goddess, essentially the new raids version of the Guardian in raid 5. So expect a pretty tough fight there. We've got Diana on the top left there. And then on the right-hand side, we've got a Thane Arg leader as a boss there. So, yeah. What you will notice as well from the pictures is there's a lot more nodes in this raid than there are in the regular raid 5. So, what I've collected so far, and again, could change, and this is probably the biggest change that we're going to be seeing, is that the raids at the moment have 3 teams of 10 people each. This raid is going to be 2 teams of 15 people each. So if you're a clan leader, if you're a raid leader, if you are an officer in a clan, if it's your job to organize raid teams, there's going to be a little bit of work for you. You're going to have to design 2 teams instead of 3. Event raids are going to remain the same. You're still going to have 3 teams for that. But as for the new Nightmare raids, I do believe it is 2 teams of 15 players each. So there's a little bit of support there. As you saw, there was 9 lanes. If you were thinking you were going in with 10 people with 1 backup, it's not going to be the case. You're going in with 9 people with 6 people backup. Again, wait till Playcott announces it officially, though. This is just what I've gathered from what I've seen. So that is the biggest change. It is a big raid, a massive raid. It wouldn't seem illogical to have 10 players in it. And there are a lot of bosses, there are a lot of nodes, and there's not really any way you can make a mistake in here, especially since the 3 sections are sanctioned off from each other. So it's a pretty direct path to follow from start to finish. So that covers the first big bit of information. The next bit of information we are looking for is, when is this raid going to be released? Now, I was hoping that we were looking at Easter time. That is not the case. From, again, what I gather, this is going to be coming out early March. And from when they say early March, I'm predicting raid season start. So that's what we've got, a week left of this season, and we'll have a 3-day break. And I believe this will be what we enter into in the new raid season. So clans are going to have to decide what's worth more, doing this raid, Nightmare raid, or continuing raid 5 difficulty 3. This would be the next step, yes, but how far are you going to be able to clear into this? Which brings us to point number 3. In the announcement, it stated that to allow yourself to use characters in this raid, those characters need to have a minimum of 7 gold stars. Now, this is odd wording. That is obviously the absolute minimum requirement. But if you look at the power of these nodes, we're looking at 555,555. Yeah, I mean, the middle bosses are exceeding 1 million. And if we go across, we can look at the last bosses. We've got 3.3 million for the final bosses. These nodes are going to be absolute terrors. 7 gold star minimum just to enter the raid, but you're looking at heroes needing, again, this is an assumption, gear 13, 6 to 7 arcane stars, I think, is going to be the absolute minimum, at least to get to this final section of the raid. You're going to most likely see enemies here with gear 14. It is in the game. They haven't used that, from my knowledge, on enemy nodes yet. So it's the next logical step to have those enemies in the game to, I guess, encourage players to boost the strength of your heroes. Now, the final bit of information we were given as well is the raid requires specific factions. I don't have a list on me. I think there were about 8 factions. They're essentially all the newest factions. But you are not going to be able to sweep through this raid with your Cloud Wanderers Rhiannon setup that you use in Raid 5. It's not going to be viable because you can't use Rhiannon. She's not in any of the factions that I can remember. So, yeah, this raid is going to act like event raids. We have different factions, and each section of the raid is cut off to a specific faction. You're going to have to, and they're doubled up. So I think every section has 2 different factions you can use. Again, I'm trying to find out this information. I'm trying to find out what teams are needed where. I think that's the next big thing that we need to figure out. So I am working on getting that information. But at the moment, we have the factions we're going to have to use. We just don't know where we're using them. So it's just like event raid where, you know, the middle section can only be completed by Vandals and the Guardians of Order, for example. But yeah, we'll figure that information out, hopefully in the near future. But that is everything we know about the Nightmare raids at the moment. They're going to be hard. Your heroes are going to have pretty steep requirements met. And we're looking at early March. So keep that in mind. Oh, and of course, the possibly 2 raid teams of 15 players, which is, again, a pretty big change as well that we're going to have to get used to. So yeah, that's everything we know about the Nightmare raids. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will most likely not be able to answer it for you, but go for it. And wherever you are in the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.